Thank you very much, Darrell. Right. This is excellent. The first thing I want to say is that the conference is over. After this representation, we have nothing more to say. So we're finished. So first, thank you very much for coming. We're really excited to be able to talk a little bit about what we are doing, talk a little bit about these problems that we're living in the digital arena, and how to evolve our thinking to be able to solve it. Also, I want to thank all the team that has been participating on this, Wanda, Falta, Julia, and all the rest of the team that has been made this possible. And we have arrived for this conference, for this unconference, a beautiful lineup of speakers from every single sector, from scholars to professors to entrepreneurs to engineers, some nerds, some actors, as you have seen, and some designers, digital disruptors, so on and so forth. So this is a beautiful content that you will have in the next 1.5 days, and we are extremely excited to be part of this. So why we are doing this? This is one of the most important things. And this is something that, of course, came out of our mind, doing an event like this, which is a very, small event, very, where we invited the people that we really want to participate. And it's a request from you guys. Many of you asked us, saying, listen, Martin, you're doing great things for many companies, and we would love to hear more about what you do for others. And why don't you put together some kind of event? And this is a reaction that we have. We started organizing one of these events, and this is the first one, but it won't be the last. So I invite you to look forward to future editions of this event. Why doing this in this place? And this is also another important thing. While planning this event, I remember chat with Wanda and with Julia and with the rest of the team, saying, okay, let's get a hotel and we do it like an Oracle World, and I was looking for my hotel, the Oracle World, and it looks like a city, It's a massive event. And we wanted to do something smaller, with more content, more specific things for you. And we decided that doing this here in the CCA is extremely important, because the connection between those digital journeys that were represented and art and design is every day bigger and bigger. So I think that the venue represents that connection, and the venue is very important for that. So thank you very much to CCA to allow us to this event here. What's the objective? And this is probably some of the most ambitious things we want to do during this day and a half. The idea is to install a new app on your brain, or if that's too invasive, maybe the idea is to provide you a new pair of glasses to watch the reality, to understand what's happening with digital journeys and with digital experiences around the planet. So that's the idea, that's the whole thing of today. And with this, I would like to, set that as a mood for the whole conversation first. And then, as many of you, I asked you, to many of you in person, just interrupt, okay? This thing about having a conference is because it needs to be improvisation inside of it. So anything that comes into your mind, just throw it away. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be a smart comment. It needs to be participation, and that's the most valuable thing that we will get out of this thing. So with this, let's go into the presentation. We call it the never-ending digital journey. This is the title of our unconference today. And I wanted to start talking a little bit about consumer engagement revolutions. We haven't lived many in the history of our of what we remember. You know, I'm born in 1968. Since then, there has been several, 2 or 3 engagement revolutions on how to engage with consumers. But the good news is that we're exactly in the moment of living one of those big changes. So let me start a little bit with the story. 1960s, 1980s. What do we have? We had 2 different worlds. On one side, we had, we had the traditional advertising. Here is a very good representation of how advertising looked like. Do you imagine something like that happening now? A kid telling to your, an advertising with a kid that calls them to make their parents to remember about buying cigarettes. Impossible. But this is how it was. It was a very rational content, very well, thought, and this was very direction into what the brand wanted the customer to do. On the other side, we have the content traditionally known that connects emotionally with consumers. What's that? Well, movies, theater, music, TV shows, radio shows, any kind of that high-level content, the content that really connects with consumers. On the other side, the other content was like a second-rate content that was connecting to consumers in a different channel. Rational channel against emotional channel. This is the paradigm that lived for many, many years, from 1960s until the year 2000. In the year 2000 appeared a new kind of media, basically moved by Google, Facebook, and many others. Now we were able to target those rational messages to the specific person that was looking for that specific term in that specific moment. And that was another paradigm shift. Now, the idea of sending massive messages to the crowd for those who were interested to pick up the message, now is being replaced by the idea of sending very, very concrete messages to that specific person that is looking for that specific word in Google, or for that specific age or target in Facebook. But at the end of the day, the message was the same. All of you know how hard it is to set up an advertising in Google. It's hard because it's difficult. It's hard because condensing in one sentence, everything that you want to transmit, to be able to seduce someone with one sentence to click there is really very hard. But that was the new shift. In the meantime, content was still separated from marketing, but now still started to get distributed through different channels. YouTube and other channels started to distribute the content in a different way. Suddenly, marketers started to realize that was a mistake. That just conveying the message in one single way, in a very rational way, and separating that from the content was not very smart, and they started mixing content with advertising. And that was what happened in the year 2010. What happened there was that storytelling got into advertising. So I want to show you some videos. Can we show some videos of good things? Oh, we have no. Oh. Yes.
Listen, a lot of tweets. Are you flirting with me? Me? No. And I'm definitely not bringing you these fragrant flowers and a handwritten note from my heart to your doorstep via my bare feet running over the California mountains, or
Or the other advertisement from Google. Wow, that was fast. No.
this part of the improv?
These are great examples of how content started to invade marketing in some way and started to invade the way to engage consumers, but still far away from the business itself, far away from what's going on the business itself. So what we have been seeing is that we have been working with many companies around the planet in helping those companies to deal with this next generation of consumers. As you may imagine, today every one of us has a smartphone on his hands, has a massive access to information, has everything that needs to have in one place to resolve pretty much any problem. And that is connected to the fact that there are some companies, for example, like Uber, that are disrupting some industries and that are generating, a total change in the way a business is conducted. And this is, setting the bar for the rest of the users to request that from any other brand. So, in essence, users are becoming technology voracious. They are needing from the brands to behave in a different way with the amount of technology that they have at their own, available. So what we say is that in this era, in some way, content, the word content, which is the way in which you connect better and in the most emotional way with consumers, needs to be redefined. We thought about content in the past as a book, or a movie, or a TV show. That was content. That was real good things. Or even some viral videos like the ones we saw from Google or from other big brands out there. That was good content. But we call all the rest technology. And what I think, and what we think at Globant, is that the word content needs to be expanded into new lands. And that definition of the word content needs to go now to those technology experiences, to those digital experiences that we provide to consumers. Why is that? The reason is very simple. They are competing for the same airtime as the traditional content does. So the better your experience is, and the more close to the concept of content, it will generate a better connection, a lasting connection, and a more emotional connection with those consumers. So what we are seeing also is that those great examples like Uber, or what happened at Disney with the Magic Band experience, what happened at many other places in which technology is really taken a major movement forward, is that consumers are really taking this as content, and every day are less and less connected to traditional market and advertising. And we can see that in a very easy way. The CPA cost to getting someone buying in your site through the traditional methods is going up every day. And that's an undiscussed reality that everyone is facing in every industry. So the matter is how we engage consumers. If those guys are really connected with content. And then now we are thinking that what we are doing in technology is also content. Then we need to provide a new kind of content to those consumers. And this is how we introduce the concept of digital journey, which is that new kind of content that can create that emotional connection with consumers. And for me, this is the next big evolution in terms of how to engage consumers in an effective way. And what's this content about? Well, digital journeys is a sequence of smart and relevant, context-aware interactions, right, that is connected to the business. And I will give you examples, no problem. Definitions are always hard. I will give you examples. That is connected to the business, to the core business, to provide a seamless journey across different touch points that we have with the users. And they are of the new kind of technology-driven content that creates an emotional connection between users and brands. This is the definition of a digital journey. Let me start giving you some concrete examples for you to understand how this new way of doing things is. So this is the reality today. Companies have been investing for the last 15 years in all their transactional systems. Whatever they have today is great, and they have been investing to manage their business in a very efficient way. Hence, each of these systems has started to interact with consumers in different ways. Once with their own store, with their own mobile app, others with the wearable devices, others with other kind of devices, but each of them interacting, I would say, in a very anarchical way, right? What we did for some customers is that this is the new way of creating and understanding a digital journey, where you have all your transactional systems that you have been investing for the last years, right? And they develop at certain speed that connects with the smart digital journey engine that is understanding what's going on in these systems, plus understanding what's outside those systems, and be able to take conclusions and be relevant to send the specific signals either to the web applications or to the mobile applications, so you create something that is longer and more lasting. To give you some examples, if you go to Disney today, right, you will start leaving the Disney case 1 or 2 months before you go to Disney, planning your trip. You connect with Disney in that first moment. You understand if you want to send your girls or your boys, you will go more to Princess or more to Space Mountain. And then when you arrive to the hotel, you get that beautiful box with the magic bands. You put your magic band, you open up the door of your hotel room, then you go into the restaurant, you pay with your magic band. And then, by the way, you get close to the cast, and the cast recognize you and reach you by your name, right? And then you go to you are in an attraction and you receive a message in your phone saying, I know you want Space Mountain. By the way, go now that there's no queue. There's no people there, so you should go now. And then, when the travel finished, still connect with you with the pictures and further experiences that they are able to give that to you. What I'm saying is that what Disney did is transform an interaction that used to last no more than 30 seconds into an interaction that lasts weeks or even months. And that's the transformation that they do. But it's not just a transformation in terms of the system, but it's a transformation in terms of the relationship with the customer. And they call that content. That's the content for their guests. So this is the new way of understanding, a digital journey. Digital journeys, many of us, on the technology sector have been creating digital journeys or have been creating applications or standalone applications, and we call digital transformation because we have a mobile app. Yeah, we have a mobile app, we say we have a digital journey in place. We have, an omni-channel strategy, so we can start on the web, and then we can go into mobile, we can go into a wearable device, and the information will flow flawlessly, amazingly well But my question is that a digital experience, digital journey, or is just a way to see things in different screens without any seam in the middle? So the fact is that there are companies out there, guys, that are really getting how to create these digital journeys for consumers. And if us as a technology company and you as customers or companies that are treating with those consumers don't provide that kind of digital journey, someone else will come and do it, like in the case of Uber, for example. The taxi industry was just hanging out there. One day Uber appeared and suddenly everything changed, right? And the same thing happened in pretty much every industry. So, learning from what's happened at Disney, what we saw there is a massive company, a huge company that is able to become a digital disruptor with the management decision of making it happen. So this is the idea of the digital journeys. And by the way, as we saw on the improv, which was great, thank you very much, guys. These kind of problems happen in every single industry. What we saw today was the anti-digital journeys. Let me tell you a couple of stories. The other day I was checking well, I'm a frequent flyer from American Airlines, okay? But I was checking in to go to a different place, into another airline. I won't say the name. It's a letter of a Greek alphabet. And I was checking in there, and at home we fly coach. That's our position. And I checked in, and when we received the ticket, I received 44B. Okay, 44B, 44, you may imagine is on the last part of the plane, no problem with that. B is a middle seat. So I said to the girl that was talking to me, I said, is there any possibility for me to get an aisle? Because I'm a little bit wide and I have problems going in the middle. And the girl said, okay, let me check. She started checking. Oh, but you have no frequent flyer number here. No, I don't fly Delta. Sorry. I don't really fly American. By the way, I'm executive platinum at American. Oh yeah, but you cannot get it. By the way, it's full, so forget it. So I said, well, I took my ticket, I get it, I sat down in the middle seat. By the way, two big boys were just surrounding me, so the mean temperature between me was 36.5 degrees. Right? So I get to the destination dehydrated, right? When I got there, I started thinking of how that experience happened. How easy it is for that airline to understand who I am, to understand that, guys, at home, we're 4,500 people, we can get this guy and cross-sell him. They could have told me, listen, Martin, if you accept a sales executive from this airline to sell to your 4,500 people, we will give you an aisle. And I said, yes, give it to me, no problem. But that didn't happen. So I tell you this because we live situations like this in every moment, in every place, that are based on the silos of information that happens at every company. We need to break those silos. We need to be able to provide that relevant experience to those consumers. And stories like this happen all the time at every. That's why we choose to start with a couple of those here in this event. So my point here is that happen in every industry. I told you history on the travel. I could tell you another bank story that was very funny, but it doesn't count. In private, I will talk about the bank story. But it's happening everywhere. So that's the thing. Quick update on Globant for those who are not 100% connected to what we do. Many of you promised that you would interrupt, and I haven't heard anything. So Today we are 4,500 people. We started this company with Gilbert, which is here. Gilbert, where you are? Gilbert? There. With Gilbert and two other friends about 12 years ago, with the idea of working with technology consumer technology. And that was the whole idea when we founded Globant in 2003. Very early in our history, 2006, Google selected us to be the first company to develop software, to create software for them outside the Googleplex in Mountain View, California. Early in 2008, we received the first investment from Riverwood Capital. Michael is here today. A great, he trusts a lot on us, so thank you very much, Michael. We became a company of 4,500 people with some of the most amazing customers out there, from Electronic Arts into Cisco, BBVA, LinkedIn, EMC, just to mention some. You may see there's the list. Last year we did 200 million. The guidance for this year is $250 million. We're a quite small company. We listed the company last year in July 2014 on the New York Stock Exchange. The first company founded in Latin America, like we did. And the first company on the professional services sector to list in the New York Stock Exchange in the history of the New York Stock Exchange. We are a business case from Stanford, Harvard, MIT, and Gartner included us in the cool vendor list in 2012. So, how we, and this is what we do. What I just explained about creating these digital journeys is what we do. The only thing we do. Together with what we do, we create those amazing software products that are needed to deliver those digital journeys to massive audiences worldwide. Today what we do is what we don't do. We don't move into the CRMs or ERP implementations, service desk, business process outsourcing, all the traditional IT stuff that many of the big players does. We don't do that. We just are in the business of creating these next generation experiences for our customers. How we do that? Well, if you land into our webpage today, you will see some changes, and this is the new way in which we are understanding our company. The first thing we need to do is to be able to maintain you relevant. You as a customer and as a partner needs to be inside of the things that are happening in different industries, in different parts of the technology. We are very lucky to be able to see many different industries in many different sectors. So we have our Sentinel report, we have webinars, conferences, customer visits to our playground here in San Francisco, which is our office that has been transformed in a playground for our customers to go and play with new technologies and new stuff. And this is what we call stay relevant. That's the first thing. Then we go into the next phase, which is explore and discover. Let's dream these digital journeys together. It's not just about engineers. It's not just about having engineers and designers together. It's about having people that can put these things, book writers, people that can engage emotionally with your consumers, so you can connect and you can design and think about that journey that we want to put together. So we have our playground, we have our innovation as a service, which is a framework in which we can play and create those digital dreams together. And then we build. This is the three things that we do. We stay relevant, we make you stay relevant, apps stay relevant. Second, we dream those digital journeys. Third, we build them. And you may argue, well, Martin, you dream and you build it. Well, the new way of thinking about this is that you cannot separate dreaming and exploring and design from construction. Because for consumer technology, those two things need to be 100% connected in the same loop, in the same culture, going around in circles. And it's a never-ending circle. So, we build it. For this we have three specific things, which is our 12 studios. I will talk a little bit about this in a few minutes. Our Agile Pod methodology, our service, our platform strategy. So with this, we have all these studios, each of them trying to touch one of the emerging trends that are happening. gaming, cloud ops, big data, UX and design, quality engineer, enterprise consumerization, consumer experience, mobile, wearable devices, and Internet of Things, and the new studio that we just launched, our cognitive computing studio, in order to how to use, artificial intelligence to provide a better experience for those consumers around the world. Our Agile code methodology, as you may imagine, when you start this kind of projects, it's very difficult to have a fixed price project or fixed time project. You never know. You know when you start with the idea, you never know how that's going to end. So the reaction to that in the market has been that let's move into time and material. Well, we said time and materials is also an engagement which has some deficits in terms of building the relationship with that specific customer. So we created a new way of thinking, which is let's put together some multidisciplinary teams, all right? That includes all these roles that we were talking about: design, engineering, innovation, authors, people that can think about how people behave. And then we will measure those teams, the productivity of those teams, as a function of how fast they go, how much is the quality you can get from those teams, and how innovative and autonomous they are. We measure those things, that productivity, and we change the rates as they become more productive in just 3 discrete levels of productivity. So that's the whole concept. With that, we think that our interest, with this model, which is becoming more efficient, is absolutely aligned with the interest that our customers have, is spending their money in the best possible way. Last but not least, our platform engine. To build these journeys, we know that we need to have some platforms that are ready. I would say the most relevant platform is the Seamless Digital Journey engine. With this engine is the engine that connects with the transactional systems of the companies and is able to take these conclusions in real time to provide the signals to avoid what we saw today on the representation. On the innovation. So we have some platforms that we charge it differently, but this is the way that we accelerate our development of these journeys. Today is a very special day for us. For the last year and a half, Globant as a company, but in particular Andres Ancelani, our Chief Solution Officer, Giver Endleviene, our co-founder and CTO, and myself, we have been trying to distill in a single place all these concepts and evolutions that we have been exploring. So today we are very honored to announce the first version of our book talking about the never-ending digital journey that we'll give you as a present for you. So this is an exclusive. The book is not out there still. This is an exclusive edition for this event. So this is very important for us, and it's also part of our stay relevant exercise that we want to do with you. You will get a copy to each of you. So that's the quality. So with this, I want to close with a challenge. I want to leave you with a challenge. I hope after all these words that you get the new concept around what's the difference between a nice web app or a nice mobile app and a proper digital journey, right? So my challenge to you today is let's try to see the reality with this new app, to see the reality with these new glasses, and let's try to discover, in every single industry in which we belong, how those digital journeys should be and how we should treat the consumers compared to what they are expecting on how they are being treated today. So with this, again, I strongly appreciate your presence here today. I hope you can keep on talking all this time, and I will let you with Giver to keep on talking about this digital journeys. Thank you very much.